I'm not allowed to tell you exactly what day it ends. I'm only allowed to tell you how to calculate that yourself. That's considered legal information and not advice. My name is Judge Sylvia Holmes. For those of you who have your cameras on, if you'll please give me a thumbs up, my audio is coming through clear and loud for everyone. Sounding good, sounding good. All right, fantastic. Thank you all for joining us this morning. This is our landlord-tenant eviction docket. Before we begin, I'd like to make just a few short announcements on behalf of everyone. One thing I like to start and remind parties about, and most especially to remind landlords, is that the Federal CARES Act provisions are still in application. So if your case is involving non-payment, I will be asking if your property is covered under the Federal CARES Act, and if it is, that requires that a 30-day notice of proposed eviction is given to the tenant, as opposed to state law, which requires 3, or your contract, which can be for a smaller or longer period than that 3 days. Another thing to highlight, and this is for everyone's notice, is that based on your outcome today, whether you win or lose, deciding who it is, both parties always have a right to an appeal. The appeal period will tell you in the paperwork that we provide you, and if you go and you research into state law and you look it up, you'll see that it says that you have at least 5 days to appeal. And day 5, you start counting tomorrow. So tomorrow is day 1. You do not include the day of the hearing. And if day 5, it's calendar days. If day 5 falls on a weekend, a holiday, or a day that our court is closed before 5 p.m., you get until the next day. So please be advised that our lobby does close at 4 p.m. Monday through Friday. And as a result, it's quite likely that your case is going to allow for 6 days of an appeal. And that also then impacts when the writ of possession can be issued for landlords. Again, I'm not allowed to tell you exactly what day it ends. I'm only allowed to tell you how to calculate that yourself. That's considered legal information and not advice. So keep that in mind. And that's true for all courts in Texas. I always like to highlight a few resources for landlords and tenants and then occupants, whether you're here for your case today or if you're observing, you may be having a situation coming up. It's a good idea to go ahead and do a little bit of research. And I'm going to highlight just an example of some free resources that are available here in Travis County and in Central Texas for landlords, for tenants, for occupants, either to file an eviction, to appeal an eviction, if you need to prepare for the case, or if you're having other situations in your housing unit. So I'm going to share my screen, and my clerk is doing a great job. She's already put these links in the chat box for you, but I'm going to share my screen so you can see what they look like. Again, these are not the only ones out there. To give you some sense of what you can look for, here are 4 examples. The first one I'm going to highlight is the Travis County Law Library. The Law Library is located here in Travis County. It's downtown Austin in the Civil County Courthouse. They have resources and availability to give you information. They can help you understand the forms to file, what necessary documentation you need. They have those services online and in person, and they are available in multiple languages. When you look at their website, if you scroll down on the right-hand side, in the second column, there's an entire section about evictions, including guide and file, and then how to appeal for both landlords and for tenants. So again, a good start with the Travis County Law Library. Volunteer Legal Services of Central Texas actually offers representation for people who are facing eviction or who need to appeal. You can get that help in person. They can do it online via Zoom, and they offer those services in multiple languages. They partner you with local attorneys who are donating their time for free. So this is a good free pro bono resource. The Austin Tenants Council is mostly there to assist tenants and occupants. So landlords, I doubt they would take any phone calls from you. However, their website and their information that they have on it, and the blog that they run, has a lot of good resources for anyone who is going through an eviction, whether you're on the plaintiff side or the defendant side. And then for the tenants, they can offer representation, and they offer those services via telephone, in person, and they do that in multiple languages as well. And just about all of these websites can be translated. The last one I'm going to highlight is a statewide resource. This is texaslawhelp.org. This is a website run through the State Bar of Texas with dues from attorneys. It has information about practically any legal question you might have. I have already gone to the section about evictions and landlord issues, and there are guides here. There's a lot of information to be read about what to do if you're appealing, before you're renting, if you have a bad neighbor, if you need rent assistance. bed bugs, and then you can see there are at least 9 pages of information. Now, this website does not pair you with an attorney, but it can give you information for anyone facing a legal situation. Again, this is the page for evictions and landlord issues, but the topics are endless. So pretty much anything you can think of. TexasLawHelp.org can give you some resources for that. All right, again, those are just 4 ideas or suggestions to help you get started, but they are not exclusive, and certainly you can contact any legal assistance that you like.
My name is Corey Rogers. I'm an attorney and counselor licensed by the Supreme Court of Texas in May of 2008. I practice with Rogers Law Firm, and my primary practice is trial work with an emphasis on multifamily housing representation. I agreed to represent the plaintiff in this case, doing so on an hourly basis at the rate of $350 per hour.
Mr. Roger, who's your client for the first case?
Isabel Caballero.
Okay.
There's nobody else with that name on there.
Right, I found her. All right, here she comes.
Hello?
There you go. All right. Let me call. This is Judge Eric Shepard, presiding judge in Travis County Court at Law number 2, and I'm calling this hearing to order in cause number C1CV 240000470 WRPV 13 SF Austin LLC DBA The Amethyst versus Aaron Redaker. The day is Thursday, March 28th, 2024. This hearing is being conducted remotely on Zoom and live streamed on the court's YouTube channel. No recordings of this hearing are permitted other than by the official court reporter. Any violations of these instructions are punishable by contempt of court. If you would announce yourself for the record, tell me who you represent and whether you're the movement or respondent in today's hearing.
Good morning, Your Honor. Corey Rogers appearing on behalf of the plaintiff, The Amethyst. I'm accompanied by Isabel Caballero, who is the property manager, the assistant property manager there.
All right, Ms. Redaker. How do you pronounce your name, ma'am? Ms. Redaker? She can't hear me, I don't think. Or is she frozen? Oh, there we go. Hi, Ms. Redaker?
Yes, hello. Apologies.
Is it Radiker or Redaker? How do you pronounce your name?
Thank
Radiker?
you, Your Honor.
Okay.
Apologies, my computer wasn't loading.
No problem. It happens to everybody. All right. We're going to get started here. Mr. Rogers?
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you. This is an appeal of an eviction from the Justice Court for non-payment upon non-payment of rent. We're going to be asking the court to award back rent, possession of the apartment, and attorney's fees in this case.
Okay.
With that, I'll go ahead and call Ms. Caballero to testify.
Let me swear in Ms. Caballero and Ms. Redaker. And are you testifying, Mr. Rogers, today?
Ma'am.
All 3 of you, if you raise your right hands, you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this cause will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
All right. Thank you very much. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, Ms. Caballero. Would you go ahead and state your name for the court?
Hi, my name is Isabel Caballero.
And Ms. Caballero, you work at WRPV XIII SF Austin LLC, doing business as The Amethyst?
I do.
You're the assistant property manager there?
Yes.
And are you familiar with the tenancy of Ms. Radiker?
Yes.
Does she reside at 13401 Metric Boulevard, apartment 1222, Austin, Texas, 78727?
Yes.
And is her occupancy based upon a written lease?
Yes.
You got her permission to share my screen?
Yes.
Ms. Caballero, would you go ahead and take a look at what I've marked here as Plaintiff's Exhibit 1? Do you recognize this document?
Yes.
Is this a true and correct copy of the lease agreement between the property and Ms. Radiker?
It is.
Okay. Your Honor, we'd offer Plaintiff's 1 into the evidence.
Ms. Radiker, any objection to plaintiff's 1?
No, that is the accurate lease from what I see, yes.
All right. Plaintiff's one is admitted.
So now pursuant to this lease agreement, Ms. Radiker agreed to pay monthly rent in the amount of $1,023 per month, correct?
Yes.
And then pursuant to paragraphs 3 and 3.5, she was also obligated to pay utilities each month, correct?
Correct.
Has she failed to pay her rent and utilities since November of 2023?
That's correct.
And that failure is a default under paragraph 23.1A, correct?
Yes.
So you're seeking back rent of $1,023 for each of the months of November of 2023 through March of 2024 for a total of $5,115.
Yes.
And then are you also asking the court to award your reasonable necessary attorney's fees on any judgment the court may render here today, as well as post-judgment interest?
Yes.
Go ahead and take a look here at what I've marked as Plaintiff's Exhibit 2. Do you recognize this document?
I do.
This is a true and correct copy of the notice to vacate that you hand delivered to Ms. Radiker on October the 9th of 2023.
Yes.
Has it been altered or modified in any way?
No.
Your Honor, we'd offer Plaintiffs 2 into the evidence.
Any objection to 2?
No.
2 is admitted.
And after this notice to vacate, I believe there were some payments, but that Ms. Radiker did not get paid up, correct?
That's correct.
And that's why you took those payments and applied them to the oldest things first. And that's why she still has a balance at this point for November forward, correct?
Correct.
Go ahead and take a look here at what I've marked as Plaintiff's Exhibit 4. Is this a true and correct copy of her ledger through January of this year?
Yes.
Your Honor, we'd offer Plaintiffs 4 into the evidence.
Any objection to 4?
No.
4 is admitted.
And just to be crystal clear, under the lease, Plaintiff's Exhibit 1, and specifically paragraph 23.2, it provides that after giving notice to vacate and filing an eviction suit, we may still accept rent or other sums due. The filing or acceptance doesn't waive or diminish our right of eviction or any other contractual or statutory right, correct?
That's correct.
Pass the witness room.
Any questions of this witness, Ms. Radiker?
I do not have any, no.
Okay, thank you very much. Ms. Caballero, you're excused. Mr. Rogers?
Yes, Your Honor, I'd call myself testify about attorney's fees.
Go right ahead.
The usual and customary My name is services Corey rendered in Rogers. this case be the sum of $1,700. I'm further familiar with the process and the procedures for this case to be subject of an appeal to the Texas Court of Appeals, and believe that a reasonable and necessary fee to respond to that would be an additional sum of $5,000. I'm also familiar with the process and the procedures if this case would be the subject of a post-trial motion, and believe that a reasonable and necessary fee to respond to that would be an additional sum of $1,000. Further, I'm familiar with the process and the procedures if this case were to be the subject of a petition for review to the Texas Supreme Court, and believe that a reasonable and necessary fee to respond to that would be an initial sum of $5,000. And finally, if the Texas Supreme Court would actually grant a petition for review, I think a reasonable and necessary fee to respond to that would be an initial sum of $5,000, with all post-trial amounts being contingent upon my client prevailing. And finally, Your Honor, I would share with the court what I've marked as Plaintiff's Exhibit 3. This is a summary of my time increments here. As you can see, my paralegal Marilyn Scruggs has also performed some work. When she did so at $95 per hour, and the other work was performed by me. And I would offer Plaintiff's Exhibit 3.
Ms. Radiker, any objection to 3?
No.
Okay, 3 is admitted. Anything further?
Nothing further for me.
Okay, do you have any questions of Mr. Rogers?
I do not.
Okay. Ma'am, this is your turn to speak. If there's anything you'd like to say about this hearing.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. Excuse me. Firstly, I do want to request, if possible, I guess a delay or continuance of this meeting. I am currently awaiting legal aid. I have been in first contact with legal aid in regards to this, and they are basically waiting for their schedule to open up to have an attorney to to assign and to represent to me. I was in contact with them and got a final email last night. So I do apologize for not advising this earlier, but I just was informed by them yesterday that I believe it's Texas Rio Grande Legal Aid, they are in communication with me. They have reviewed things preliminarily and are wanting to have an opportunity to represent me. They gave the time frame of potentially a couple of weeks of delay for this meeting, so that I may have some actual legal assistance and additional clarity on, my rights in this situation. I have no legal training and would love the opportunity to have some representation if that is possible.
Unfortunately, ma'am, I didn't know that before the hearing started. And this hearing has already been scheduled and we're already through half of the hearing. If they have a motion they want to file, depending on what happens here today and what's being said here today, they'll know what that is. But I can't stop the hearing now in the middle of the hearing. That's the difficulty here. We're halfway through. I just can't do that. And so if you're waiting on them, I can go ahead and make the ruling today, and then they can decide what they want to do after that.
Okay, I understand. Obviously, I wish they communicated with me quicker.
They do too. Trust me, they do too. But that hasn't happened. Okay, I understand that. Was there anything else?
Yes, please. I definitely will have, follow up with them.
Sure.
So thank you for the advice there as well, Your Honor. I have submitted some documents. I hope that they were visible to you guys. I don't have the capability of screen sharing, but to the box application.
They're in box?
Yes, that Mr. Rogers used. I went ahead and went into that program and uploaded some documents.
What were the documents?
A couple of things. Firstly, I did provide something that I did want to mention. I have paid some rent the last 3 months since I filed the appeal. I have paid my full monthly rent amount to the court as directly instructed by the court. So, the Amethyst directly has not received that as far as I'm aware, but I have paid to the court as I was.
You paid it into the registry of the court. Is that what that's what everybody's nodding. You paid it into the registry of the court. That's part of what you have to do to keep your appeal. So I understand that. Go ahead.
Okay. I just wanted to ensure that was clear because they mentioned
Sure.
I was not paid through to March, but I have paid January, February, and March, and in full. I also included proof of employment. That was my big issue. Was I was laid off from a job and had personal health issues, and my partner had unemployment and health issues and was denied disability. So that's the short story of my life and cause of this issue. But I do have employment beginning tomorrow, actually. And so with that in new employment, I would be able to get 100% paid up within 3 months. And if that is anything that the company is willing to work with me on, I definitely would love to remain in this home in that time period to get paid up 100%. Excuse me. So that is definitely something that I can do. And, since I did follow the court orders of paying monthly, obviously I'm able to, get it done now. So with that, those good faith payments to the court, hopefully those, I don't know how it works, to be honest, but hopefully those get relayed to the company, appropriately for my apartment, debt, I guess, at this point. But if Mr. Rogers and the company are willing to allow 3 months of me remaining here and getting paid in full, I would have everything down to zero, as I do have new employment guaranteed.
I can't speak for Mr. Rogers.
Understood.
And so I don't know what he'd be willing to do. Mr. Rogers, go right ahead.
Yes, Your Honor, I appreciate that. I think we're going to want to go ahead and go forward today, but I'm happy to have a conversation with Ms. Radiker following the hearing. I do have another hearing here, Ms. Radiker, so I won't be able to talk to you immediately.
You have another hearing after Ms. Radiker? Oh, okay, sure.
With you.
So, yeah, okay. Yeah, let's do that. I'm going to go ahead and rule for Mr. Rogers' client.
I'm not allowed to tell you exactly what day it ends. I'm only allowed to tell you how to calculate that yourself. That's considered legal information and not advice.